Okay, so I've made a new single object. You know, as you sculpt on these, you can choose how this material looks. You can just choose something that's very simple, or if it helps your sculpting process, if you want to look at some other material, you can do that too. But I do suggest using something that's just very simple to get started off. In terms of just going through some of the tools you've got here, some of the tools are additive, some of the tools are subtractive. They either take away or add material. Right now, draw is selected. I've got basic tools that affect the size of the tool that as it appears, and also one that affects the strength. How hard or how much energy is that tool going to use as it affects the object. On some of the tools, you also have the ability to invert what the tool is doing. Is it going to affect the area inside the circle or outside the circle, or is it going to switch that additive or subtractive function of the tool? So do be aware of those, you know, invert, size and strength, and on some of the tools, also global. Like for the grab tool, I suggest it being your major sculpting tool when you first start. When you first start, it's working symmetrically. You know, I can change the symmetry to be on or off here, just selecting right there. Clicking outside the object lets me grab on the object, but if I switch to global, I just can move the entire object. That's very useful when you do eventually bring in multiple. I want that to be one. I think it's one. Yeah. When you eventually bring in multiple objects with your grab tool and using it globally, instead of affecting the single object symmetrically on two sides of the axis, you can actually grab the entire object and arrange it for the character that you're trying to build. Of course, you're probably going to start with a head sculpt, but then you know, maybe you're going to you know, do a body mass, and then after that maybe do legs. You can do as many as you like, and you could even build it from one object. For example, let's say I wanted to make a neck between these two forms here. With my grab tool and also global selected, so that I'm actually moving the entire thing. Let's say out of this mass here I want to pull a neck down. What I would do is first turn global off. Going to look so I can see underneath this a little bit. And I want to affect and pull down from this area here. My selection tool is a little too large for a neck. It's a little too small. That's okay. And I'm going to try to get just right in the middle of it. And then just pull that mass down. And that's okay for now. Also, after you make areas and masses, you can also inflate or deflate those areas. You know, again, it's going to be dependent on the size of your tool. You know, right now it's on inflate. But if I also wanted to make that tool smaller, you know, in terms of starting to get a lot more biomorphic, you know, forms that you might see on a body and stuff like that, you can make it smaller to, again, either act additively or subtractively on the surface. But you can also go back over all of that and smooth it out. You can flatten surfaces. But in a nutshell, in terms of every tool, pay attention to the size of the tool, the area you're affecting, the strength of it, and also, is the tool global or can it be inverted? Let's see what else. Oh yeah, scale. Scale also is good in terms of scale, of course, scaling different parts of the object. It's one with a global toggle. So with this current selected object, if I wanted to scale it, it's already selected. So all I need to do is click somewhere and hold down and then move my mouse. And it does nothing. Let me turn global off. Nope, that would just do an area. Let me try X, Y, and Z, and then global on. Nope. Now that's just going to scale the areas, so let me increase the size of the tool. There we go. So the combination to make the entire object scale larger or smaller is both global and XYZ selected. And if you're in the right mode, you will not see the actual tool. But all I do is click, hold down, and what I did wrong is I clicked out here first. You should click on the object and then either move in or out. So in that way, you'll be able to work to scale the object larger or smaller. But just generally, like I said, I do want you to put close on this. It's just a creative challenge, not anything about, nudity or anything like that. But, and I think it adds to the character. It relates a little bit to the other project we're working on in VCM 270. Just the personification of the character, even if it's just a little hat or, Snoopy becomes a totally different character when he's on top of the house and he's acting like an airplane pilot with his little helmet on. So even if you just add a hat or a vest or one shoe, I don't know, do try to add some other element to that character. But that's about it. Oh yeah, as you save your work, there are two files that you can save out, and I suggest you do both. Don't try to rely on just one file path. Save your work in progress, save out as versions. The software can crash. If you do really strong permutations of the form, if you really start to make some really fantastic shapes and stuff like that, the software becomes prone to crash. So, be aware of that. Save often as you're working on this. You can output and save your objects, and you can also output and save your working documents. So do both. And also, you can either keep updating your same save file with the same title, or just create a string of them. This software actually does not create humongous files. So you shouldn't really see a big problem with file sizes and everything like that. But take care. Take care of your work and the time that you're actually investing in these bills. And every so often, again, save both your working objects and your working file environments. If you want to, if you like a good utility, if you want to use like visual references of like a skull or an animal or something like that, you can go to options and for the background image, pull an image back there that you can then look at. And also try to save some in-progress images of what you're doing. You can either do that by doing screen caps. That's pretty quick to do. But you can also save out images from the software as you go. And you can choose to either have it save with or without the background. And there's some other, stuff that you got, some other options that you can look at there too. But it's a pretty good software. It's a great freeware. The parent software of this is ZBrush. When we first started this program, we used to have it in the labs, but this is an awesome software. It outputs at a real stable file type, the OBJ, the object file type. So we'll be able to use it later in other environments. Questions?